Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Corey, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode because this is the third episode I've made. The two other ones that I've made, I think that was Monday and Tuesday, or Tuesday and Wednesday. I was going to take them out, but then I was going to release them, but then I was just not quite there in terms of my energy, in terms of what I wanted to say and how I wanted to come across. And a lot of it was just I got a friend who's going through a really difficult situation in his life right now, and I was just helping him to deal with it. I was trying to just support him, and I felt more motivated to just be helping this one person. And it's been a pleasure because they've inspired me as much. I've been trying to inspire them. And one of the things that we talked about was, being in a difficult situation and the cycles of bad situations versus good situations. I think most people that come to a podcast like this where you've got a sexless relationship, usually it feels like you're more consistently in a downward situation, a place that you don't want to be. Because we know when you have issues with sex within the relationship, it feels like 90% of the problems, whereas generally it's about 10% of the problem. But because of what it's worth and what it means to you as a person, it could mean even 99% of the problems. So, but generally in life there are more difficult situations. So you could have been living in Turkey right now. If you don't know, in Turkey there was a earthquake and several thousand people were injured. A few hundred people still missing. So like just waking up to that is a very difficult situation if you live in Turkey, and where you just do not know whether your family members are dead or, even just not waking up. So again, when you start putting things into perspective, things aren't that crazy or they're not that difficult. I've come from Africa, where sometimes having one meal a day is a blessing, or at least having a meal every other day was a blessing. So there's things when you look at it and you put it in perspective, it isn't that difficult. But you're not African, you're not Turkish, your struggle is your struggle. And there are times when you're going to face struggles, and there will be times when you face real highs. And really, usually when you face the struggles, it's important part of you learning about yourself, you not being able to, not giving up, but being resilient when the tough gets going. And one of the things that I've realized with situations like this is that the more resilient you are, when you don't give up, the better you are on the other side. So you actually enjoy more of the highs and the happier days. Because if you don't take the moment to be resilient and fortify yourself, when you're in the highs, you're more likely to come down again very quick, because you've not made yourself stronger. You've not been able to be resilient enough. And I'm saying this because it's really important. It's more to my friends, just to them to realize that it's easy to give up. It's easy to do things that are rash out of anger, out of depression, out of all these negative emotions. But choosing not to give in and do it is absolute strength. It's absolute power. And for you to be doing what's best for the people that you love is the most important thing. So I say this because I was listening to a story, and I mentioned this story to him, and I said there was a guy who was working stock exchange, New York City, and he was a prominent. He made multi millions. This guy was absolutely rich. I've completely forgot his name. But anyways, he was so rich. And then while he had all this money, he started making friends with some people. And then when he made some friends with the people, just off the cuff gave somebody a tip on the stock. The people that do the regulation for that, or who look after those things, found out, and then they put him into prison. So once they put him in prison for doing this, it was a very difficult situation for his family, because he lost all his money, he lost his family, essentially, because they're now in prison. And this was like July, so he gets into prison. There's over a month of press bombarding him and really just getting out all these stories that are so embarrassing. So you can imagine this guy is at the lowest point of his life, where really he's pretty much lost everything. His family are now without the money that they are accustomed to, and everything seems to be crumbling in his whole life. And while he was in prison, obviously depressed about everything, not happy about what's happened, massive public humiliation. The months roll on, and then it ends up being September, and then the World Trade Center gets attacked by aeroplanes. The aeroplane actually hit the nose of the plane, hit the office where you would normally sit, and every one of his work colleagues died on that day. When you put it into perspective, the most horrible situation that happened to this guy ended up becoming the thing that saved his life. And when you experience really, really bad situations, they're only there for a short time, and you might feel like it's the end of the world, there's no hope, there's nothing that you can do to change this. But I can tell you, if you're resilient enough, you will realize why that issue has happened and how that issue can end up being a blessing in your life. So I'm just going to end it right there, and I'm really hoping that any of you guys that are struggling, you're finding yourself really suffering with depression, you're finding no hope, and you just really need somebody to talk to, get us on our Instagram, Thriving Tribesmen, because I think most guys, they would go to a therapist or speak to somebody, but you want to speak to somebody who you don't know, who you think is going to, at least you will know that I won't judge. I'm willing to hear what you have to talk about, and just really help you to start figuring things out. And like I said, I'm not selling anything to you, so don't feel afraid to come out and say, I just need some help. And like I said, go to our Instagram, Thriving Tribesmen, and we'll be able to help you. Thank you very much for listening. I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.